Hello, I'm Robert Sanders and I'm talking to writer, composer and musician Hereward Kaye. Hello, Hereward.
Hello, great to see you.
You've performed with the likes of Tom Robinson, Rick Wakeman and the Flying Pickets. Tell me, how do you prepare yourself mentally for a performance?
You arrive at the venue and it's the afternoon and they're putting up the lights and they're, adjusting the PA. There's a sound guy, there's a lighting guy. You've got a long time to kind of sound check. But you do have that feeling of the ticking clock. You know an audience is going to arrive. You maybe even asked at the box office how sales have gone, and depending on what project it was I was working on, I mean, the Pickets were nearly always sold out. So you'd have that feeling that there was a full house and people were making their way there. And then, of course, you see the ushers begin to arrive, and then you're told you've got to end your sound check because it's doors. This is kind of half an hour or 3/4 of an hour before the show. And then you're in the dressing room, and it's a familiar routine, Robert. You may be taking out a brand new T-shirt that you've bought for it. You're putting on the trusty black leather trousers or whatever it is you're wearing. I mean, back in my Pickets days, I was kind of ponytail, eyeliner. You shower, you shave, you sort of get yourself really ready. You're gargling with red wine virtually, You have that little thing to give you a bit of a buzz, or some people do. Others, they maybe got their head over a steaming bowl with Albus oil in there and a towel. And then you're doing a bit of vocal warm-ups. Your tour manager is coming in all the time and saying, 15 minutes, chaps, and you say, how many are out there? And he'll say full or whatever. And then it's 5 minutes, and you do have this mounting excitement, however much you do it. And then you're in the wings, you're touching each other for luck. You're announced, and you honestly don't remember the rest of it. You are on stage, you're in the zone, you're just in a zone. I mean, the circumstances demand it. There's an audience, they paid their money. They want entertainment, and you are part of that entertainment. So you do your thing, and there's no other part of your brain, for me anyway, that goes, oh, I don't like this, or this worries me. Because you're just doing it, you're delivering. The next thing you know is the show's over, and you can't actually believe that an hour and a half has passed. It feels like 5 minutes, I mean, anything I would say, it's all the usual stuff I would say, that really life is too short to worry too much about anything. It's these chances, these moments, they're there and then they're gone. So if there's anything you can do to seize the moment with both hands, I do know that there is really nowhere to hide. So, it's like I've had times where I've worried about my voice because I went through a vocal condition, a dystonia of the vocal cords, which is why I'm kind of a bit croaky to this day. And as that started to come on, I did start worrying about my voice within the vocal group setup. But I've found that if you kind of back off, then you can't actually hear yourself as well in the monitors. And it all gets harder. So it's a self-fulfilling kind of prophecy. If you're nervous on stage, you actually make the audience nervous. And then you get a feeling of apprehension coming at you from them. So it's that teeth and tits kind of a grin, and there's no business like show business. You've just got to get on with it and do it. And if it's not for you, then probably do something else.
You've dealt with some huge personalities like Cameron Mackintosh. How do you deal with a big personality like that and still maintain your artistic integrity?
It's a really good question, Robert. It really is. When people are that big, that successful, for a start, they've got, staff in New York, in, various different capitals. They've got offices, they've got staff, and they're always surrounded by their staff. And, when you work for somebody, they're the boss. So there is this, that's what the person gets used to, is people who kind of agree with everything you say. And that is very, I said to Cameron once, I gave him a hug and I said, I'm not going to do the Cameron thing. You do know that, don't you? Yeah. And he said, yes, I do. So I was lucky enough to have known him before he got very big. I had to remind him, when I first met him, when he picked up Moby Dick, he said, Hereward Kaye, I know the name and I know the face, I've been trying to remember. And I said, 10 years ago, one of your very first productions was a tour of the Rocky Horror Show in Germany. Yeah. And I said, and I was in it. And we used to sing old songs on the coach together because he came out and thoroughly enjoyed himself for a week, So I just had that slight, and at the end of the whole production, that one, there was a party at his office, and it was a tiny little office above the Fortune Theatre, which is a very small theatre in the West End. And then, of course, 10 years later, he signs Moby Dick. And suddenly it's an opulent, grand sort of premises on Bedford Square, and there's pictures of Cameron with the Queen and, all that sort of stuff. And he's a whole different ball game. But I just felt, I knew the guy before, so I used to kind of hang on to that. Luckily, he adores his creators. He loves his composers, He's a very creative guy himself. So he really gets his hands dirty in the creative process. But you have to justify every word of lyric, every line of script. He's riffling forwards and backwards through what you've written. He's going, and then something calls him up. And, you're sort of having to step up to the judge and jury and justify why it's in there. The way to go, I find, he starts every meeting very, very aggressively. And, the way to go is to kind of agree with all his ideas and then gradually increase the pressure on the pedal of your own ideas. And, through experience, I found that was the way to work. And it all got much better and more amenable, and you started to filter your ideas through.
Hereward Kaye, thank you very much. Bye-bye.